Tim Hortons has launched a national campaign to hire about 10,000 employees this summer. The company is saying it is committed to hiring local and that it is no longer necessary to rely on temporary foreign workers to fill positions. Joining us now is Duncan Fulton, Chief Corporate Officer at Restaurant Brands International, which is the parent company of Tim Hortons. Duncan, it's good to speak with you.
Thanks, Nivrita. Good to see you.
All right, now this feels like quite a reversal for Tim Hortons because until now your company has lobbied the government to expand access to foreign workers. So what brought this on?
I think there's been a misperception around the use of the foreign worker program. Our owners predominantly hire local every chance they get. You know, when you look at our 110,000 team members across Canada, about 4,000 are here as part of that program. But by and large, our owners hire locally every chance they get. It's just easier to do it that way.
To your point, to hire someone on the temporary foreign workers program, that means a higher cost that the company pays. Is that right?
It certainly is. And, we need full-time, part-time employees at all the way through the day as a 24-hour organization. The biggest rush for us is 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. till 11 a.m. in the morning. A lot of folks think that we need a lot of youth, and we do. But 5 a.m. to 11 a.m., youth are getting up and going to school, and they're in class. So we still need everyone from the community, full-time, part-time, in the restaurants. And then youth really play a big role after school, evenings, and weekends. We're going into a summer rush. We know at the end of the summer, students go back to school. So there is always a hiring campaign. On the foreign worker issue, we've looked, the program is being cut by half from owners that are using it in our system. It's a very small part of what our owners use. It really should be reserved for the most rural, extreme examples where labor is hard to get. But we're always hiring locally, and it's fun to do a campaign like this.
You point out youth unemployment, and that's something you announced along with this campaign as well. The latest numbers we have from StatsCan do show unemployment rising. The national unemployment rate was at 6.9% in April, and youth unemployment, which looks at workers between the ages of 15 and 24, that's at over 14%. Now, I believe that age group makes up nearly half of Tim's workforce. So what has that looked like at your end? If you could give us a larger picture, are you just flooded with applications?
Yeah, so we started our campaign on Monday with television, with social, radio. We've had thousands of applications online. I was chatting with our restaurant owners yesterday, last night, this morning. They're seeing a number of people come into the restaurants with resumes, interested to work. So it's certainly having the effect that we want. And, we're always hiring. If you imagine a normal restaurant has 30 people, full-time, part-time. Part-time staff turnover, whether you're at a Tim's or a McDonald's or a Canadian Tire or a Cineplex, those part-time jobs are always turning over. So it's important to always have applicants that even if there's not a job today, there's going to be a job very soon. And, for those morning rushes, you often have 10, 11, 12 people working in the restaurant to make sure we can get you through that drive-through in 32 seconds or less.
The effort by Tim Hortons to, stop relying on temporary foreign workers, it does align with the federal government's policies, what we've seen over the past few years. But what does it mean for your franchisees? You mentioned remote, rural areas. Can we expect that, if not now, but very soon, they will need to pay more in order to attract more local workers?
It's never really been an issue of pay. I know there's a misperception that somehow the temporary foreign worker program was subsidized by government. It is not. In fact, it's more expensive for an owner to go through the fees of using that program. Our owners have to pay competitively region by region. We have to pay competitively with the restaurant down the street, the retailer up the street, the Amazon warehouse down the street. So there's always been competitive pay. The fact is that, coming out of COVID 5 years ago, there was more of a challenge to fill some of the roles. The government was pushing on getting the economy going again. There was an increase in the cap of people using the program. Again, in the last year, our owners' use of the program was cut by half. It's only 4,000 folks that have been brought in from outside the country out of 110,000. The focus is local. And local means anybody that's entitled to work in Canada who wants to come work at Tim Hortons is welcome.
I do want to ask you about the fact that you are also looking at more competition soon, both for customers and imagine workers as well, because Dunkin Donuts is making a comeback here in Canada. They're planning 600 to 700 locations. How are you positioning yourself ahead of this? Because we did hear some fighting words from the CEO of Foodtastic saying Tim's is old and that Tim's has lost its way.
We're not and we haven't, but we play our own game. Everything we do is on a 2 to 3 year rolling schedule. I'm here in our Toronto office today, which is our headquarters. Our test kitchen is here. Every single food and beverage item you have from Tim's comes out of this kitchen. Our teams today are testing food and beverage and lunch and breakfast that you're going to be trying in 2 to 3 years from now. The new restaurants we just announced that we're opening, 80 of them across the country, those are opening in the coming months. It takes a couple of years to do something like that. You need to find the site, you have to work with the landlord, you have to get permitting, you have to get contractors, you have to build. So everything you're seeing us do today has been in the works for a couple of years. All of our focus today is what does it look like in 2028. So look, competition's always made us better. And I think it's worth saying we serve 4 million people a day, and that's 10% of the country. Even if we get it 99% right, which we don't, that's still 40,000 people a day that we're letting down somehow. So we always show up every morning to be best of our game, top of our game. So our focus is playing our own game as we always have.
All right, Duncan, we leave it there for now, but thank you for your time today.
Thanks so much.
That is the Chief Corporate Officer of Restaurant Brands International, Duncan Fulton.